Alright, it's 6 minutes after, which means we are starting a minute late. Um, Thursday, July 16th, day of the wild goose. We're going to do some Qigong today. Start with warm-ups, go over some movement details. We're in the 7 steps, the second of the 7 steps, and then do the form together. So, start with warm-ups, feet together, and waist rotations. Head remains stationary, feet are stationary. Movement is happening through the dimeridian, the meridian that wraps around all the other meridians around the waist. And exploring the sides of the circle, how far forward it goes, how far to the sides it goes, how far back it goes. Exploring where that center is. And then massaging up and down and back and forth. And then we do waist rotations the other direction. I don't know what my hair is doing today. I woke up, it decided to be a rooster. I was telling it, it's time for Qigong. We gotta get a goose look. Didn't do it. My hair has a mind of its own. And then palm over palm into the chest and massage. And then switching directions after bringing the other hand on top. Then feet shoulder wide, parallel to each other, and either hands or fingers, palms or fingers into Huan Tiao for hip rotations. Again, keeping the head as stationary as possible, using Bai Hui as an anchor point, the point where the head stitches together at the very top. It's an anchor. Feeling that pulling up to the sky, feet sinking into the ground. And even though the feet are stationary, there's still movement inside of them, feeling how the weight distributes as the hips rotate around your center. Then massaging Huan Tiao and massaging lower back. And hip rotations in the other direction. Besides how far in every direction, can play with the speed of it. Can do these faster, but don't lose the roundness of it, and don't lose checking in with each direction and the space between the directions. And then palm over palm into lower dantian massage. And then Sutra Chan is on top, other direction. And we'll do knee rotations, feet back together, and palms slightly on the knees. And for the first round, keeping the heels connected to the floor as we come down, letting it be kind of a sitting motion, keeping the back straight, eyes out in front. And then massaging down on the inside, out, up on the outside, on the kneecaps. And then knee rotations the other direction. Again, heels are connected. Eyes on the floor, tongue is touching lightly through the warm-ups, just like it is through the form. And then massaging down the, or no, kneecaps the other direction. Time to massage the kneecaps in the other direction. Down on the outside, in, up on the inside. Then deeper knee rotations, letting the heels come up off the floor. And then massaging down sides of the legs. And deeper knee rotations the other direction. And then massaging up the insides of the legs. Feet back together, interlacing fingers. Pushing down, up to upper dantian arm circles. Mind's eye following through the inside of the body as we go down. Eyes connected as we come up and in. Even though our arms are what's active, maintaining the connection with the floor as well. And pushing up. Relaxing up again. Relaxing up. And relaxing to the right, which means opening up the left side of the body, palm, wrist, elbow, armpit, ribs, hip, knee, ankle, and pushing down to the floor as much as you're pushing up with the hands, and relax. Coming back up. Tension coming through the ankle, knees, hip, ribs, armpit, elbow, wrist, all the way up. Relaxing, and one more time. Up to the right. And then to the left. Wrist, elbow, armpit, ribs, hip, knees, ankle, foot, and relax. And then back up, ankle, knees, hip, armpit, elbows, wrist, relax. One more time. relax, and then folding from the hip to do arm rotations towards the ground. And then pushing down in front from upper dantian towards the floor, and then pivoting the torso to the right, pushing down outside the right little toe, and on the left. Grasping elbows, making little elbow circles, and just hanging out or grasping the ankles. Then we'll get some kicks in as our pre-chin to toe kicks. So protecting the back, the shu kidney points, and kicking out down the back of the leg, bottom leg through the heel. Bring the foot down softly each time. And then kicking with the toe down the top of the leg, the front of the leg. And then chin to toe. So left leg out at an angle, aligning the torso to that leg, grasping the elbows, and folding from the hip. Elbows coming down the top of the leg, up the foot back towards yourself. Tongue is touching lightly, breath comes naturally, eyes into the floor. And extending 10 fingers into the ground. 5 fingers on each hand. And then massaging harder on the outside as you come down, harder on the inside as you come up. And patting down the leg, getting all the joints, can bring your knee into a bend to be sure you can get all the joints. And then coming up, protecting the back, and walk it off. And time for the left side. Left side at an angle. And lining the torso. Grasping elbows. Bending from the quad, the hip, folding over. Keeping the chin and toe connected. Keeping the eyes on the floor. Making circles with your arms. You can integrate some movement through the fold as you explore what angle feels best for maintaining your stability while also finding extension in the back of that extended leg. And then 10 fingers, 5 in each hand, reaching into the floor just like the eyes. Don't have to touch the floor to connect with the floor. And then massaging. Harder down on the outside, harder up on the inside. And patting down the leg and bend the leg to get all the joints. Giving a little pat it on. And then walking it off after coming up, protecting the back. Then back over to the right. 6 fingers, 3 on each hand, and folding over, tongue touching lightly, breath comes naturally, fingers connecting with the floor, even if just mentally or with intention. Eyes on the floor, chin and toe connected, and 2 fingers, 1 on each hand. And then grasping the toe. And massaging. And patting. Stepping up, protecting the back. Walking it off. And then left leg out. Lining the torso, 6 fingers. Folding from the heart, pointing down to the ground. Eyes into the ground, chin and toe connecting. Tongue on the palate, just behind the teeth. Connecting the red and dew meridians. They go up the front of the body and down the back of the body. 2 fingers, 1 on each hand. Grasping toe. And massage. And pipe. Protecting the back on the way up and walking it off. And then we do another round of kicks. So protecting the back with the hands on the shoe kidney points, UB23, and kicking out with the heels first, and taking the opportunity to notice if there's any difference from the kicks that happened prior to chin to toe. But basically doing the same kicks with the heel, bring it down softly, and then the toe coming down softly. And if you keep the leg extended as it comes down, then it's a strengthening exercise as well. Feet back together for pretzel maneuver. First looking to the right. Relaxing. And then left hand over the right shoulder to look to the left. Lining the palms with the ears. Relax. And we'll do the right side again. Bring the right hand over the left shoulder and looking to the right. Relaxing, left hand over the right shoulder and looking to the left. Relaxing, and then patting the sides on the corner of the shoulder and underneath. And the point that we're connecting with in the arms right here, it's a hard one point, and we're going to be referencing that in movement we're learning today, movement number 56, skim over water. Skim over water. We will connect with that point. So remember that point. Then arm rotation, so left leg is bent, the right leg is straight, right arm is just hanging loose, and effortless effort to bring the arm up in front, down and back, momentum up in front, gravity down and back. And then switching the direction of the arm swing so that you're coming down in front and up and back. And pivot on left heel, pivot on right heel. Left arm hanging loosely, coming up in front, down and back. Switching directions. Then snapping the top of the shoulder and across the back. Pivot right heel, pivot left heel. Feet back together. Sashaying in circles on the shoe kidney points. And then dabao, the ribs. And then the lower lymph nodes. Then the chest with the fingers spread so you can comb through the collarbone, that whole area, just like when we're doing wash, face, comb hair. Just raking out any bad chi or blockages. Other side. And then the shoulder. And giving it some pats. And other side. Some pats. Then do across the arms, or up the arms, so the arm at shoulder high, a little bit across the body to get to the ends of the fingers, very ends of the fingers, including the thumb. up past the shoulder, brushing all the meridians on the top of the arm, large intestine, small intestine, triple warmer, and then inside the lung, heart, pericardium, meridians along the inside, and then other arm, same thing, coming up, fingertips past the shoulders, and then coming down inside, shaking it out, shaking the arms out, shaking the shoulders out, shaking everything out. And then massaging the fingertips to fingertips, past the webbing, past the wrist. Eye-hand coordination. And on the other side, other hand. Then why don't we massage Hugu, the meaty bit that gets aligned to mostly Huan Tiao as mentioned, but there's other alignments that happen throughout the form. Other side. And then massaging the palm. Warming it up, Gong, and then bring that warmth to the ends of the fingers. Each time coming back to the center of the warmth and spreading it out twice on the pinky. Other hand, warming up Gong. And out to the ends of the fingers. From the center. Warming up the palms more, then massaging the back of the neck and hold the hair or just the back of the head as you do that. Other side. Then we'll do the front of the neck, brushing from the collarbone past the chin, cradling with the opposite arm. Switching which arm is cradling and brush with the other hand. And massaging temple between the corner of the eye and the corner of the ear. And then massaging the corner of the eyes, brightest point. Then massaging the corners of the nose, nails. Corners of the mouth with the V. Cradling with the opposite hand and make sure to get both corners of the mouth. Then ears. Come up with the V. Then drums of heaven, putting the palms over the ears and drumming with just the fingers. And then wash face comb hair. So feet are together and we comb with the fingers spread up over the face, around the back of the head, getting rid of any stale, stagnant chi. Before we gather the good chi around ourselves. And time for one leg stand. So focus being on the connected foot to the ground rather than what the light free foot is doing. Letting all the weight sink into the left leg and can bring the right leg up off the ground, can play with the heel and toe. Just wiggle the ankle around, can wave the foot around, and lift the leg. But the whole time, all the free leg is being free, doing whatever it feels like, maintaining the connection with the ground through the heavy leg, and then putting the foot down quietly, slowly letting the weight transfer over. Right leg is bearing the weight, left leg can come up, you can play with the ankle, heel, toe, just waving it around, bringing it up. And as it comes back down and find the floor, can brush the foot around on the floor, getting that light sense of connection before committing to a spot, letting the weight transfer 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 50, and then 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Left leg is bearing the weight and the right leg is free to do as it pleases. Maybe it's going to do some 7 steps or any of the other steps in the form. Bring the leg up. And as the right foot comes down, brushing the floor, 0% heavy, finding a spot, 1%, 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Oh, left is free again. Toes spread on the connected foot, help maintain stability. Also helps to look off into the distance rather than at the floor. If you're looking at the floor, your intent is into the floor, and then you want to go down into the floor. So you'll fall over to it. If you're looking at the distance, then your intent is the horizon, and it will keep you up, connected with the horizon. Bring the foot back down. Then we'll do the inside of the leg, extending through the inside of the leg, bending the bending the left leg to have the right leg extended, right hand and arm extended, eyes following the right arm down to the ground. Left hand can form a claw or support yourself. Feeling an extension through the inside of that extended leg through the arm. And switch sides, like 50-50, other direction. Back to center, walking the legs towards each other and brushing up the insides of the legs. And then we'll do some walking kicks, so protecting the back and kicking with the heels, bringing the foot down lightly each time. As we're doing these walking kicks, being sure bring that same attention of soft connection to the feet as they come down, and taking that stability through the leg, up through the hips, lower dantian, through the spine, middle dantian, and supporting on top of it the upper dantian in the head, and then switching to kicking with the toes. And with these kicks, all the dantian move forward simultaneously. So that's a practice that also goes for the steps that happen in the form. And then connecting with the top of the foot across Achilles tendon. And then just walking meditation, and you can experiment if your heel comes down first, letting the weight be first in the heel and then through the rest of the foot until the whole foot is connected to the floor. Or if you're walking with the toe first, letting the toe connect and the rest of the foot, the heel come down and come into full contact with the floor. But whichever one is striking first, recognizing that and then allowing the awareness of the weight transfer to the full foot. Help you recognize the full weight bearing being transferred back and forth between the feet. Okay, warmed up. Time for some movement details. Quick bow. Let's see. Movements. Last week we were ambitious, said we were going to do 53 to 58. We got through 53, 54, 55, which is soaring to each side, the gliding that we do, turning around and fluttering up. So I'll go through those movements really quickly just so that you can see them before we get to the skimming over water. And we had just been massaging on the back. This is right before 53. And then for 53, the hands come up. Weight is 50-50. And then weight is in the left as the right foot comes in. And then with the right foot bearing the weight, left foot comes out at an angle and connects to the floor with just the edge of the foot. The Yang Chuan, the bubbling spring point, is not bearing any weight and connecting to the ground. And if you need both feet on the ground for stability, then don't worry about that. That's a minor point. But if you can have more weight on the right leg, that's where the intent is. And the right hand comes into lower dantian, left hand comes into upper dantian. Then the torso aligns with the extended leg, and the left hand comes down. Eyes are following it. And the left hand comes in, aligning Lao Gong to Lao Gong, which brings us back to the center. Eyes on the horizon. And then all the dantians are moving forward together as the weight comes into the left. And with the left bearing all of the weight, the right can swing forward. At the same time, the right hand comes up the midline of the body to upper dantian, and the torso aligns to the extended foot, comes down, in aligning the palms. And since we're just reviewing this before the other movements, we can call this one number 7. On the 7th, the left hand comes down, the right hand comes out to meet it, and they begin fluttering. So we had just been soaring, we were gliding, we were relaxed, letting the giraffes do all the work, and now it's time to flutter. We're turning around, left heel, right heel, so that we did a 180, then we fly up, fluttering to the sides, fluttering forward, and this puts us in a good place to do movement number 56, the skimming over water. So with this movement, we bring the weight forward into the right foot, left foot out in front, and this time the toes and the young chuan, the bubbling spring point, are connected to the ground. It's still not weight bearing, ideally, but the stability is there with the young chuan on the ground if it's needed. And then we flutter down, bending from the hip just as we do elsewhere, and also can let the coming down be in the bent leg as well, the back weight bearing leg. So as it comes down, this is the only time in the skimming over water where both of our hands are over the knees at the same time. For the rest of the passes across the knees, since we're just skimming the water, just teasing the surface of it, we only do one hand over the knees at a time for that skimming sensation of just barely touching. So first, from here, we're fluttering up, and as we flutter up, the left hand is just finding its natural arc up, but the right hand comes across from the right knee to the left knee, and then up the left leg, and then up the left side of the body past that bow until the right hand is connected to the armpit point with the middle finger. It's not actually touching, but just focused on it, and the palm of the Lao Gong is focused over the chest. Thumb is up, fluttering. Left hand, the thumb is down, fluttering. And you want the shoulder to be relaxed. You don't want to have it scrunched up. So the hand is just at like head high, not higher than that, which can cause the scrunching of the shoulder. And then after seeing the checkpoint of, okay, my hand is up, then letting the attention come from that left hand down into the armpit, and then the fluttering right hand, and then we transfer the weight forward. So again, all the dantians moving at the same time. Right foot is forward, and the right hand flutters down the body, and the left hand is just arcing down. It doesn't follow any meridians down the side of the body, but the right hand does follow the same meridians down that it followed up to the knee, the left knee, and then the right hand passes that left knee is now in the right over the right knee, and then it leaves, and you're watching that right hand. The left hand goes past the left knee and the right knee, and then follows the meridians up the right side of the body. So turn like this for it. And then it's the same idea of okay, weight transfers, and the attention comes from the fluttering hand down the arm into the armpit, and then it'll come down and then back up the other side. So each time we do this skimming, we're teasing the meridians along the inside of the body, and if it's after our attention comes down into the fluttering hand that is at the armpit, that's what our eyes follow as we come down. Both the hands are moving together the entire time, they're moving simultaneously, but in such a way that the hands are never both over the knees at the same time. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Weight transfers. 1, 2, 1, 2. Up again. And with each time you come up, you're coming up all the way so that you've got the weight-bearing leg, the hips, lower dantian, middle dantian, upper dantian, all stacked on top of each other at the very top of that. So even though you're maybe twisted to the side a little bit, you're not leaning back, you're not leaning forward, but you're all stacked up so that as the weight transfers, all three of those things are moving forward simultaneously, and you can then flutter down. And by coming all the way up, when you flutter down, you get to actually fold over, let the weight-bearing leg absorb some of the coming down so that you can line the palms to the knees, and then when you come back up, then you're all the way up again for the weight transfer. And it's easy to get a little lazy on that one and not come all the way up and be like, okay, well, I'm far enough up to take a step. But the risk in doing that is that if you're not finding that place where you're all the way up and able to step with all of the dantians moving forward together, you're going to be taking that step kind of bent over to some degree, and that puts you at risk of falling over and makes that movement lack a feeling of stability for a lot of people. Another thing, if that movement feels unstable, is to take the smallest steps possible. Don't step more than half a step past the foot. Let the weight transfer and don't go all the way out there. That's gonna just let it be, just half a foot past where the other foot's at. Each time is going to give you a much more stable base. Also play with how wide your feet are for that, but generally about shoulder width is where you want to be. It's not out at an angle like the previous movement. It's forward. And see what else is going on with skimming over water. The shaking, we've covered the shaking, the fluttering before. Even though it's most apparent in the hands, it's also happening through the arms. And in this movement, since you got the hand fluttering right into the armpit, it can help recognize the softness in the shoulder to make the shoulder part of the fluttering and really help the fluttering penetrate deeper than earlier movements if you let all that fluttering happen together. And I have a tendency at the very top to stop fluttering for a moment because I've found that height and I miss the soaring and I want to just soar again for a second, but ideally you maintain the fluttering through the top there, through the weight transfer, you're still fluttering, and then on your way down, eyes watching the right hand all the way up, weight transfers, mind comes into the armpit to the left hand, eyes watch the left hand, and weight transfers and so on for 7 times. And then we just do the turnaround and the flutter up again. So I won't cover that. We covered it already last week. It's pretty much the same. 57 and 58 are the same as 54 and 55 as far as turning around, just turning on the left heel, the right heel, and fluttering up. You flutter up, eyes on the hands, eyes back to the horizon, arms out in front of you at that shoulder high position, and whenever you got the arms out there at the shoulder high position, keeping effortless effort in mind as far as letting them just hang there with as little effort as possible, even when they're fluttering. In fact, not putting energy into holding them out is going to make them looser, to make the fluttering easier. And then we get into searching for food next, but that's movement 59. That's next week. For now, we can do 3 bows and do the form together. So bowing to each other, thanking each other for coming together. You can also think of anybody who might need some extra chi, keep them in mind. And do a bow, recognizing our teachers, Hui Lu, Yang Mei Jun, for carrying the form and recognizing the form itself as a teacher. And bow to the world, heaven and earth, all the space in between. The good stuff, the good zone, where life happens. That's it. Time for some form. So find space where you can flap your wings, flap your wings. And if you got anything that still feels like it needs to get shook out from the warm-ups, can do whatever you gotta do to get in your body and bring awareness to your body. Shake the whole body or whatever you want to do to get in it. And feet parallel to each other. If you're feeling new to the form and you just want to do a little bit of it, the whole first third of the form you don't actually do any walking around. So even with limited space, you can do the first third of the form before the wave hands like clouds, and then just when we get to the wave hands like clouds, can close as you normally would. But I encourage you, if you made it through the warm-ups, give the first third of the form a try. Even if you aren't familiar with the form, and you can always close and watch the rest of it if you like, but this is a moving meditation. Might as well move around while we can. So feet parallel, arms relaxed at the sides, palms feeling the warmth of the legs. Bai Hui reaching up into the sky, and the feet sinking down to the ground, toes spread, dantian stacked, tongue touching lightly, soft gaze, and begin. Down the side of the legs, up, open to the sky, into lower dantian. Fingers leading the way out. Spell. Feels so good, we do it again. Up over the top of the head, elbows out. Pushing down on the left. Pushing down on the right. Rocking forward. Rocking back. Macrocosmic orbit. 2, 3 flaps. Other side, right claw above the clavicle, left hand, macro, cosmic, orbit, slap, slap, slap. Back to center. Left hand is lined with the chest, the right hand drops down, and then we stir. Now we got some movement. We're gonna do some waving hands like clouds, walking forward. On the left. One more cloud hand on the right. And then we rinse waist. Spiraling. And restore. Raise single wing. And wrap around the head. Finding palms below the collarbone. Restore. And scoop the moon from the water. It's the outer moon, allowing us to turn around, take a step forward, and get in position for looking at the moon, which is the inner moon. And then pushing down 3 times from the knee to the floor, alternating fingers and fugu over to the right side. 2 at the bottom of the third, fluttering. This is the first time in the form where we're fluttering and then looking out over the water. Glorious water, flying over the water. First to the left, to the right, left, and then drinking water, delicious water. Two, and the third time, fluttering up, bring the right foot parallel to the left, and letting the hands land on lower dantian. Right hand lower, left hand higher. Shaking and relax. Settling, sinking into the floor, being still. And shake again. Relax, still, absorb. Shake again. Stillness. Then we grasp chi 10 times. Eyes connecting with the hand. And then back to the horizon with each grasp. Goose fist. Bring chi down to the dai and up below the collarbone. 9, 10. Grasping chi palm up, following the same stomach meridian down the front of the body to the dai, arcing up and straight in. Scooping up, straight in. Loose fist. Eyes with hand, eyes with horizon. 9, 10. Opening up the fingers. Spiraling up. Big sphere of chi coming over onto the left. Right hand above the left hand and massaging towards the lower dantian. Eyes watching the hands and the ball being massaged in towards lower dantian. On the right, flipping it over. Massaging from the right to the left, total 8 times, and back to the center, and absorb. Gathering up another big sphere of chi, avocado of chi, and standing meditation. Palms aligned to upper dantian, tongue touching lightly, knees slightly bent, or more than slightly if you like. Okay, bring palms to upper dantian, past the neck, chest, all the way down through lower dantian, all the way down, fingers to the floor, round to the sides. Hugu aligns with Huantiao. Arms float up to shoulder high, and then come around the mouth, up off the heels in. Expel. Fingers up, fingers forward, form claw, arms sink, and Hugu to Shukindi points. Open up the claws, loosen them, and shake. Making space for the 7 steps if you need it. And relaxing, being still, absorbing, and shaking, and stillness. Shaking, still. One more shake, absorb. And now for the first of the 7 steps, we're soaring, effortless effort, gliding along. Soaring to each side, coming back to center in between. Palms are centered, torso is centered. Weight transfers and we get to the other side. Centering the palms, centering the torso. 5, 6, center. 7. On the left. Left hand comes down, right hand comes out. Flutter. Turning around, fluttering up. And now skimming over the water. Five, 6, 7, and flutter down to lower dantian. Pivot left heel, pivot right heel. Then we fly up. And searching for food, the fluttering stops and we go get breakfast. Five, 6, 7. Palms to knees, palm to lower dantian. No fluttering as we pivot left heel, pivot right heel, and we build a nest. Eyes to horizon and then eyes down at the nest. We do it twice on the right. Back to forward, center, and then to the left. And then forward. Coming around for final close. Both feet are parallel on the midline of the body. And landing at lower dantian for sleep. That wasn't the final close, that was the sleeping close. Then coming up, then we get to final close. And winding up back at the starting position, full of chi, bringing our legs together, and some walking meditation to integrate back into the world. Okay. Looks like we went overtime a bit. Sorry about that. Thanks for practicing. Bow to each other. Anybody who needs chi, sending it out to them. Bow to our teachers, including the form. And bow to the world that we're going back to. Carrying our practice with us to enrich every moment of life we can get away with. Sneaking in the qigong, sneaking in the goose gong. Goose along, goslings. I will see you next week or Saturday. Bye.